Welcome to Food, Wine, and Whiskey, a podcast about having fun conversations on tasty dishes, vinos, and spirits from around the world. Rob is your host. He is an avid home chef, WSET Level 2 award in wine, and a whiskey drinker and collector. Time to set the table. Here's Rob.
Hey everyone, thanks again for stopping in for another episode. We are not in the studio today. We are out and about in Houston. We are at one of our favorite places, my wife and I. It is Santo Wine Bar and Wine Shop. And my guest today is the owner of the shop, Ricardo. How you doing, Ricardo?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Rob, for having me. And I'm pretty thrilled to be part of this episode.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and having a conversation. I hope it's the first of several that we can do this a few times, talking about the world of wine, different countries, regions, varieties, and just having some fun conversations.
Yes, I'm ready.
So if you can't tell, there's a little accent there.
Yes.
You're from?
I'm Italian, but unfortunately after 11 years here in Houston, the accent is still there. So it's different to hide this... And also, I'm moving the hands all the time, so you can see
with the
me.
pinched fingers. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you see that, yeah.
Yes.
Are you now a Texan? You've been here over a decade. Are you a Texan?
I'm a Texan, y'all. And so the reason why I'm here, my wife, she's from Houston. And now I'm more Texan than her. Basically,
Oh, okay.
She created the monster. And I love this country. I love Houston, the diversity of this city. It's my new home now,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty excited to be here.
Now, everybody just heard you say you're from Italy, from Umbria.
Yes, I'm a Perugino from Perugia. That is the main town of Umbria. So it's a medieval town famous for baci perugina. So I don't know if you're familiar with this type of chocolate, but we are so proud to be the home of baci.
People can see by the title today, we're going to talk about the Loire Valley in France. But don't be disappointed, listeners. We're going to have Ricardo back on and talk about, your homeland, Italy, and talk about Italian wines for sure at some point.
So I decided to talk and interact with Rob and with you guys about Loire Valley, just because I want to show that I was trained to be a sommelier here in America. And Guild of Master Sommelier gave me a lot of knowledge to explain wines, but I studied wines from all around the world, and deep in my heart there is Loire Valley, because my first boss, when I started this job in 2016, was passionate about Loire Valley, and his name was Thomas Moss. He passed some years ago, and then he was kind of my mentor. And I love this wine region because it's very diverse and pretty similar to the story of Houston.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. I think there's, when people hear the Loire Valley, I think a couple of wines jump right out to them of what they're going to get there, but there's a whole lot more you can explore, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, tell us a little bit. I mentioned we're at your place. We're at Santo. Tell us a little bit about your wine shop, your wine bar, and tell us, I always ask guests to come on. It's always a different answer, the journey in wine. How did you get into wine? What made you passionate about it that now, you have a brick and mortar place that people can come in and you get to interact with them about the world of wine?
Yeah, absolutely. I started in 2013 as a wine importer and distributor. I had a very small company for Italian labels, for Italian wineries, that I was the one-man show. I was doing everything. I was working in the warehouse. I was pitching sales, and I was talking with the restaurateur. Then I moved. I started to be more involved on the knowledge about wine. So I decided to be a sommelier in wine bars, and then I was a general manager in a place in West U for almost 5 years, and then I decided, me and my friend Giorgio, to start Santo, and we created an LLC with we are 7 business partners.
Okay.
And we decided to launch this European style. Is inspired by Europe, by Italy, by France. It's a wine bar, it's a wine shop. There is also food involved, and it's very eclectic. And also you can see from our stream of revenues, because they are equally split between retail, between bar, and between food. So.
Well, you're Italian. If you're going to have wine, there's got to be food around.
Correct. So wine is a sort of is the complement of a meal. Is part of the meal. It's like a course. So you starting with an appetizer, but then you have the wine. That also a glass of wine has a decent amount of calories. So for this reason, is very enjoyable in a table together with other people. And it's part of a kind of a game. So when you're drinking wine, because then you want to talk, you want to make sure that you are pairing the wine with the right type of food.
Yeah, I remember a saying, a phrase, or you can tell me if it's true or not, that I heard from an Italian friend. He said, if you're drinking through the course of an evening, and at some point you start to go, wait, I think I'm feeling a little, buzz coming on. The rule isn't to, by the Italian rule, it's not to stop drinking. It's to eat more food.
Yes, correct. So you don't want to drink the bottle of wine by yourself in front of TV. So the best way is to share with your wife, your family, your friends, and if you're talking a lot, you are consuming a lot of calories. It's like training. So basically, if you're a little buzz, add more prosciutto or more meat.
Yeah. Well, I want to make mention that you and I did a video just for YouTube on the YouTube channel, just highlighting your place, Santo, talking about, what it's like, what you offer here, and a little bit more in depth. So, if you want to go check it out on the YouTube channel, please go do that. Topic today. The topic
is Loire Valley. Loire Valley is stretching along the 47th parallel in France. It's a cooler climate. Northern part of France is stretching for 650 miles. Is the longest river you can find in France, and it's very diverse, like I told you, Rob, a few minutes ago, because there are 50 different appellations, and this wine region is divided in 4 sub-regions. So it's pretty cool. You have rosé, you have bubbles, you have white wine, you have red wine. So it's pretty amazing.
Well, and that's kind of the cool thing about all wine regions. I think what I've found as I've explored and went through this journey is that, there might be a particular grape that gets you to come in and try the wine there that they're known for. But once you get in there, there's a whole world of different varieties and wines that you can try. And Loire Valley is no different. You mentioned sparkling wines, and you mentioned, well, you haven't yet, but we'll talk about some grape varieties that people might go, I didn't know they used that grape in that region. So that'll be cool. There's still dessert wines that come out of that region. So
correct.
It's going to be fun to talk about. But let's start here. You've been to the Loire Valley.
Actually, I've been to France 3 times, but it's on my bucket list. I know very well, in my mind, when I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming the maps, the wine maps, the vineyards all around the world, and then it's impressed in my mind the map of Loire, but I haven't been there.
Well, that's one of my questions, and you may know just from talking to wine people and people who come in the store and have traveled to France. Is it thought to be, when I think about going to France and I'm going to plan a wine trip, I love wines from the Loire Valley, but it doesn't jump out to me as that's where I'm going to go. Is it a destination for wine tourism? I think about France, I'm going, Champagne, Burgundy,
Yes.
Bordeaux, maybe down into the Rhone Valley,
Yes.
Alsace,
This is a great question because Loire Valley, in my opinion, is kind of underrated, especially with the American tourists because they prefer different options. However, Loire Valley, first of all, is considered like the garden of France. It's full of castles, full of chateaux. It's amazing. It's a sight to behold. So basically, it's very long. It has a lot of tributaries to the Loire River, and has the perfect condition to grow vines, but also when you are riding your bike along the Loire River, I think it is one of the best vacation that you can find in Europe. So,
yeah, and you mentioned something, at the beginning of what you said, the chateaus. And, I did a little looking around as far as, what's cool about the Loire Valley. And that's what stood out. I found so much information about these grand chateaus, these properties that are just massive and huge, but also the architecture beautiful. And what was kind of cool about the Loire Valley was when they talked about the chateaus, it was so many different types of architect. It wasn't just cookie cutters that it looked the same everywhere you went. It was so different, which I thought was very cool. Would be a really fun experience to go and travel the region and be able to see all these different chateaus with different architecture styles.
Absolutely. I mean, also Loire Valley is a place with a lot of history. I mean, they started to grow grapes during the Roman times, but also is the place where Leonardo da Vinci died because was invited by a king to be
really?
his personal painter. So there is another historic person that is Rabelais, that is famous to describe the relationship between food and wine. So there are a lot of history aspects about this wine region.
And if you go, it's France. I mean, food's going to be great.
Yes, food is great. A lot of terrines, a lot of pork, a lot of rillette. So, yeah, food is extraordinary over there. And also diversity and perfect pairing with the wine that we want to talk today.
Okay, cool. Do you know, when I think about Italy, I think about the 20 different regions, and, foods can be unique to those regions. A lot of the dishes that they have. Is France set up that way, or is it more of a...
I mean, the diversity is a part of of France, and for sure this is happen for cheese. So... Okay. And then one of the rule that is very important for me, it's what is grow together, compare together very well. So think about Sancerre, that is the most iconic white wine in Loire Valley, pair very well with the goat cheese that is chèvre, that is pretty popular over there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So. Well, I'm ready to get something in the glass. You ready to?
Absolutely.
Drink?
No, we are thirsty.
Yeah,
actually. So.
Before we get the wines and let's do this. Let's pour the wines. Let's get the wines we're going to drink, and then we'll talk about all the wines of the region and a little bit about what else is there besides the main wines that you mentioned. Sancerre.
Yeah.
I'll just throw it out. Cab Franc. I think those are the two when you think red and white.
Yeah.
When you think about the Loire Valley, those are the two wines that you think about. But there's so much more to explore and appreciate.
Absolutely. Let's have some fun.
Okay, let's pour some wines. We'll be right back. Okay, we got some fun wines in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start by you talk a little bit about what we're going to open up and try first.
So we are going to open a Muscadet Severed Maine. Imported by Kermit Lynch. The producer is Domaine Michel Bregeon, and I'm very excited about this wine. First of all, is a Muscadet, but Muscadet is referred to the wine region because the grape variety is called Melon B. or Melon de Bourgogne. Have you ever heard about that?
I have. I've heard of it, but I've never had one. And I'm not going to tell you I know a lot about it. I don't. So I'm very much looking forward to trying this as well.
Good.
I want to mention, when we talked about this the other day, I think when people think, Muscadet or Muscat, they think it might be sweet, some residual sugar. And we were looking at this. It's 12% alcohol. It's pretty dry, it seems like.
Yes, it's very lean, sheer, it's light. And also has the amount of alcohol that right now, because also there is a different conversation, climate changing. Right now, the summer are warmer, so especially for white wine, you have right now more higher amount of alcohol. So it's difficult to find a wine that is under 13.5. 14 alcohol by volume. In this case, Muscadet is perfect because it's 12 alcohol by volume, good acidity, very high in acidity, I would say, and is a neutral, the grape variety. So it's something that is perfect for the winemaker to give some character, and giving the character to this wine is they are aging the wine on the lees. What are the lees? The lees are the dead yeast cells that after the fermentation are dropping to the barrel, but not barrel in this case, because I don't want to reveal immediately the characteristic of this wine, but this wine is fermented on vessels that are glass lined, and they are buried. So this is a kind of a tradition of this part of Loire Valley. And first of all, we are in the area surrounding Nantes, so we are closer to the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
And this area, there are 7 appellations in Pays Nantais. Pays Nantais, that means the land surrounding Nantes. And there are 7 appellations that they are producing probably 90% white wine, but also you have some rosé and you have also some red. The most iconic appellation is the Muscadet, Sèvres et Maine. Sèvres et Maine are 2 rivers, 2 tributaries of Loire Valley. And this area is famous to have a fantastic soil. So wine, again, expression of terroir. So this area is a volcanic soil, is an igneous type of rock, and the rock is called gabbro, and then is a volcanic magmatic type of soil that is pretty amazing. And then this terroir can give salinity and also minerality to the wine.
Okay. You're making me thirsty.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, as you can see, the color of this wine is not a deep yellow. It's a kind of translucent, and you can see also some bubbles, some fizziness. Why? I told you that this wine is aging for 6 months on the lees, and the lees that can give some spritz texture, because you have the CO2 that is created during this aging sur lit. And in fact, you can see on the neck of the bottle, sur lit. Sur lit means that is aged on the lees.
So it's going to give you a little more body, a little more creaminess.
Correct.
Okay.
Historically, this wine wasn't very appreciated because they were preferred Feuille Blanche, that is another white grape variety in that area. But then this wine is very good to survive during the frost, during the cooler weather, because we are in close to Nantes, so over there we have a maritime and cooler weather. And this wine then gain popularity, especially between the community of sommelier. because this wine is the perfect wine to match. Is an idyllic pairing with oysters and mussels.
Okay.
So, and for sure this one is because it's neutral. It's not too complex. It's easy to drink, but also, like you said, if you want to add character, elegance, and creamy flavors, fatty flavors, some richness, you have to age this wine on the lees. And another fun aspect of Michel Bregeon is this producer is aging one of his top wine for 7 years.
Oh wow!
7 years on the lease. So it's very interesting, and more people should drink more Muscadet.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'll say about this wine, I never had it. I never had this producer. But a stamp of approval for me is when I see Kermit Lynch on a wine that he's brought this in. I always tell folks when you're out wine shopping, if you're interested in something and you see somewhere on there that it was brought in by Kermit Lynch, you're pretty safe that's a good wine.
Absolutely. Who the person, who is the company, who are the people that are dictating the trend in the United States about wine? For sure are the importer. The importers or the suppliers, and the top importers here in the United States are people like Kermit Lynch, like Neil Rosenthal.
Yeah.
And this one is imported by Kermit Lynch. It's pretty, and it's distributed by a small company located in Austin, and here in Houston is Rustock. So these people they care about who's doing the wine. In fact, this one is the owner, Michel Bregeon, owns only 10 hectares.
Wow.
It's very, very, very small.
Yeah.
Then he opened the winery in 1975. Now he retired. He retired just after the harvest of 2010. And now is run by another winemaker, Lele. But this one is one of the top producers you can find in this western part of Loire Valley.
Okay, well let's can we taste it?
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers. And then color, we describe the color that is kind of pale yellow, almost straw, and at the nose you have these beautiful notes of lemon. It's bright, it's a lot of salinity, and then just a touch of green herbal notes. But for sure, this wine is not aromatic like it can be a Sauvignon Blanc or a Riesling. It's pretty neutral. It's more similar on the category of Chardonnay, I would say. But when you are sipping and swallowing this wine, immediately you can feel this
You're going to say acid?
Beautiful acidity.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
That jumps out a ton, but it's very bright. It's refreshing on the palate. When I nose it, to your point, I felt like it's, not super aromatic, but I felt like as you nose it, you can kind of tell that lees, that it's got some richness on the nose to me. But when you put it on the palate, I mean, it's just very bright and refreshing, and that acidity, just kind of hits you really good.
Correct. And then think about me and Rob. We love wine. We love food. But think about to pair this wine in front of Loire River, close to a chateau. So. Or a castle. So I think that this one is an unpretentious wine. It's very low key. It's not Muscadet doesn't want to brag. Doesn't want to show the flamboyant aspect of a oaky Chardonnay or the aromatic notes of a Riesling. This wine is very low-key, it's very humble wine, but perfect when you are eating these raw oysters in front of Loire River.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, the other thing, Ricardo, I like about this wine, for those of us, and I think people who come to your shop are similar, we talk about that journey, wanting to explore. This is a really, one, delicious, but it's a fun wine that if you're going to a dinner with some friends that are wine people, to pick up this bottle and take it and let them experience this, that's a cool thing to do with your wine friends.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one can be part of a wine journey, wine flight, especially if you are progressing. If you are starting with something easy drinking, fantastic. This one can be perfect as an aperitif. A lot of people here, especially, they don't want to start for bubbles like a champagne or cremant or prosecco at the beginning. Most of the people, they want to finish with the bubbles to have a kind of a palate cleanser. So if you are on this, you like this view, you like this way to do a dinner or a tasting, start with a Muscadet, because Muscadet is a type of wine that is so easy at the beginning, and raw oysters and mussels, or like sushi also. I'm thinking about something type of lean type of fish is absolutely a stellar pairing.
Okay, fun wine, really cool wine. But now let's go into the rest of the whites that we might find in the Loire Valley. Obviously, you mentioned Sancerre, but let's dive a little deeper. People hear you say that. They may not understand the grape that is used to make that wine, and then the other wines using that same grape.
Yes. First of all, if you want to know about the association, appellation, and grape variety, unfortunately, in France, you have to study that specific appellation is connected with a specific type of grape variety. First of all, one of the most exciting white wine you can find in the Loire Valley is also Chenin Blanc. And the Chenin Blanc, the production is 90% of the production is done in Loire Valley, but also in South Africa, where some decades ago was called as a Steen. Chenin Blanc you can find in Savenière. Savenière, me and Rob, we love Savenière because it's all about volcanic soil. Is located in Anjou-Saumur. That is one of the other sub-region in Loire Valley. And then I'm sorry if I didn't explain at the beginning, but Loire Valley is 1,000 kilometers, is 650 miles, so it's very long river and a long valley. So the wine region is divided in 4-5 different sub-appellation that are pretty easy to remember, because you starting from the western part, that is Nantes, Pays Nantes, associated with the Savenière, the Muscadet and the Melon de Bourgogne that we just drank. Then you are moving on the town of Anjou, and over there you have the wine region of Anjou-Saumur that is famous for rosé, sparkling wine. Then you are moving to the city of Tours that is famous for Touraine, and then over there you have Chinon, you have Vouvray, white wine Vouvray that is associated with the Chenin Blanc, and also Chinon like red, but red is a different conversation we are approaching later. And then you are moving to the central vineyards or central part of Loire Valley, around the town of Orléans, and in Orléans over there you have Sancerre associated with Sauvignon Blanc, but also Pinot Noir, because Sancerre, don't forget that is a very eclectic appellation, because you have the rosé from Pinot Noir, the red from Pinot Noir, and the white from Sauvignon Blanc. That's it. I mean, 50 appellation, they are a lot, so it's very diverse wine region. But there are, on my radar, there are Chenin Blanc and Muscadet for sure, like great white wines. But also...
Mention the other Sauvignon Blanc you can get, the Pouilly-Fumé?
The Pouilly-Fumé. Pouilly-Fumé, that is very confusing, because Pouilly-Fumé is across the river from the other side of Sancerre, and then Puy-Fumé, you can find same level of quality of Sancerre, but a better price. But don't confuse with the Puy-Fusé.
Yeah.
And Puy-Fusé is located in Burgundy, and over there you have Chardonnay. So don't go in rest. I mean, if you come in here, I'm asking Puy-Fusé and say I want a Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, no problem. I can tell you yes. We have. I can correct you, but it's not a big deal.
No,
it's complicated.
I'll tell you, I get confused sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, saying it, I have to think for a second. Okay, which one am I talking about again? But to your point, I wanted to bring that one up because it's a delicious wine, and I think it punches up. To your point of what you're getting as far as quality for what you're paying for it. I think if you can find those wines, the Puy-Fumé, definitely explore and try those too, because you can really get some bang for your buck wines.
Absolutely. And my goal is to offer people great quality at great price, because I don't like to talk about. Burgundy, amazing. Bordeaux, fantastic. Brunello Montalcino, absolutely gorgeous. But these wines that we are talking today, me and Rob, are wines of $30 per bottle. So it's a great value, great quality price ratio for these wines. And by the way, you can have amazing Muscadet and Melon de Bourgogne at $20, starting at $20. So
I just want to mention real quick, as we're talking about whites, a little bit about the sparkling before we transition to reds. What are they using to make their sparkling whites and their rosés and things like that, if people are looking for them?
It's very diverse in France and also in Loire Valley, but they are using mostly Cabernet Franc and Gamay to do sparkling rosé. So people are saying, for real? We have a Gamay also in Loire Valley? Yeah, we have a Gamay. It's not only in Beaujolais, but we have amazing Gamay, sometimes blended also with Pinot Noir, and they are doing compelling still rosé and amazing Crémant de Loire. This is the name of the appellation you can find in France. Then
I want to just say, when they hear Crémant, just so you know, if you don't, that's a sparkling wine made in the champagne method. So you can understand that it has that second fermentation in bottle. So when you're reading that label and you see Crémant, you can know that means it's made in the same method as champagne.
Correct. Crémant, first of all, is not a place only in Loire Valley, because in France you can have Crémant de Loire, Crémant de Burgundy, Alsace, Bordeaux. So, but Crémant, like Rob said, means traditional method, sparkling, because has the same level of quality of a champagne, because Champagne is a different wine region that they are doing. They are adopting the same winemaking technique in Crémant de Loire, but Crémant de Loire doesn't have the same. It's not glamorous. It's not glamorous like Champagne.
Well, price tag too, and that was my main reason for bringing it up, because when you think about Crémant, because of that method, it takes more time. It takes more effort that to do this. There's more cost involved, but the result for us as a consumer on the bottle, it's quite a bit less than what you are going to pay for a bottle of champagne. And, as we've explored France and the different regions with Crémant, you can get some outstanding, stunning wines for, $35 and less that are beautiful.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say that we have in the shop some wines around $23-24 that are Crémant de Loire, Crémant de Bourgogne. So pretty amazing the level of quality that these small producers they can offer to consumers. Because champagne it's pretty amazing. It's very toasty, creamy. Depends what type of a Blanc de Blanc you are drinking. but you have to shell out, at least, I would say $60.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a champagne, it's a vintage champagne, even more, probably around $80-90 with the Cremant de Loire. So you can buy 10 bottles instead of one.
Yeah, and it's a great point when you say buy 10 bottles, because if you're having a wedding or a special event or something where you need to you want to have bubbles to celebrate or toast with the crowd, it's a great option.
Yeah, one of my best buddy got married in 2020, and he asked me a Jeroboam, a big bottle of champagne, and honestly, it's not a great quality price ratio, because at that point, for a big bottle of champagne, you are paying for the glass. You're not paying for the juice. So be ready to spend around $1,000 if you want a big format of champagne. He ordered the Louis Roederer that was amazing, was outstanding, but it's kind of expensive.
Yeah. Okay, I do want to ask, you brought up, Gamay, and you brought up Pinot Noir.
Yes.
And we talk about, the Loire Valley is this cooler climate. So those kind of grapes make sense. Cap Franc, grows well in a cooler climate.
Correct.
People might be listening going, why not Chardonnay? Why is there no Chardonnay there?
Because this is probably the main rule when you are talking about the appellation system in France, in Italy, in Spain, that were the pioneer states that they started with these appellations. So in Loire Valley is a cooler climate, and over there Chardonnay doesn't have the same type of soil terroir that you can find also in Burgundy. In Burgundy, you have rolling hills. You are driving the road that is dividing the Burgundy, and you can see these hills that are 500-600 meters. Basically, in Loire Valley, it's kind of flat, because the highest elevation for Sancerre, Le Mont d'Année. Le Mont d'Année is 400 meters of elevation, so it's kind of low. If you go to Painante over there, it's kind of flat. So Chardonnay doesn't performing pretty well. Also, it's cooler. Cabernet Franc needs a cooler climate. Cabernet Sauvignon needs a warmer climate, and then for this reason you can find more in Bordeaux. So every grape variety needs the specific terroir, the specific climate, and the specific elevation. So these are part of the terroir. Terroir is not just the soil. Is a complex topic that is involving different aspects.
Yeah, and when we talk about terroir and climate, when people hear climate, it's what is generally what is the weather is like in that region for a vintage. There's exceptions to that. You have a colder year, you have a warmer vintage.
Absolutely.
And now winemakers and how long fruit hangs on the vine, all these different things play into when they're going to harvest and what that wine's going to express in the bottle that year.
Yes, absolutely. It's like that, and especially right now, the grape variety that we discuss, like also Muscadet, I would say that is kind of consistent. Consistent means that you have a lot of up and down, especially you have a more extreme weather right now, nowadays. Especially you can see in Houston. In Houston, for 3 months we had triple digits weather with the drought, and also this winter is kind of cold. So it's colder here than in my hometown in Italy. So we are approaching to something that's very extreme. So you have to use the right grape varieties like Muscadet that is consistent for frost and also for warmer winters.
Well, let's make the transition and dive into the red wines of the Loire Valley. And the king there for me, I think for most people, would be the Cab Franc. Talk a little bit about how important this grape is. And what I mean by that is the history of this grape. It's not just a wine from the Loire Valley. When you think Bordeaux, how important Cab Franc is in Bordeaux. When you think Cabernet Sauvignon, that wine, this is the parent, this is the daddy to that wine to make it what it is. And Merlot, it's the papa with with that wine as well. So a long history, a long tradition of this being, either part of or included in the wines that we drink to make them as great as they are.
This is a great argument that you, Rob, brought out, because Cabernet Franc, first of all, is originally is from Bordeaux. You can see a lot of Cabernet Franc, but like a blending partner, because if you go in the most important winery in Right Bank in Saint-Emilion, that is a Cheval Blanc, over there you have the Merlot that is blended with a lot of Cabernet Franc. But the Cabernet Franc over there in Bordeaux is completely different from the Cabernet Franc that we are going to taste today, and we can find in Loire Valley. First of all, Cabernet Franc is related as the parents are Merlot, and also is related with Carmenère, and originally was born in Basque country, in northern part of Spain, because Cabernet Franc is related, it's probably the same with Ondarrabi Belsa. This is a Basque grape variety, so I'm talking in Basque language. Ondarrabi Belsa is the same of Cabernet Franc, so originally is from that part. But also we can find a lot of Cabernet Franc in Italy. That is the second largest producer of Cabernet Franc. In fact, the Super Toscan Ornellaia used on the blend also Cabernet Franc. And in Argentina we have superb type of Cabernet Franc that are full-bodied, that can compete with Malbec. But this wine that we are going to drink and taste is completely different.
So let's talk about, when you have a Cab Franc from Loire Valley, what are you getting? Because people, I think a lot of times, is this a red fruit kind of wine when they think Cab Franc? Because you think Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot, you might go more the darker fruits. What is a typical? I know it can be a little bit different depending on producer and vintage, but what is a typical profile of a Cab Franc?
The profile, let's try to avoid the analysis from the color. Then we can talk also about the color, but the profile is mostly raspberry, strawberry, the fruit. And then you have other aromas like green bell pepper. Then you have the tobacco, cigar tobacco. But also you have pencil lead.
Some graphite.
Yeah. You have a graphite. And then also you have some dried leaves. You have also some cured meat. The black pepper is more associated with the Syrah. So here I would say on Cabernet Franc you have more the freshness of the fruit, and a lot of red and purple fruit, because you can see also from the color.
Oh yeah, well this is going to be something different that we're going to try, which is going to be cool from Cab Franc. Let's talk a little bit, just real quick, the structure of the wine. When we start talking about acidity and tannins, if we think cooler wine region, we think tannins might be a little bit softer. We think the acidity might be a little bit higher.
Yes. Absolutely. The acidity is pretty high on Cabernet Franc, and the tannins are softer, but and doesn't have the same tannins, for example, of Cabernet Sauvignon, because it's related to Cabernet Sauvignon, but Cabernet Sauvignon is very tannic. In your mouth is kind of grippy. So at that point, you want a big steak. So, but in this case, pairing food is probably you want something easier, like a charcuterie.
There you
charcuterie
go.
board is fantastic.
Well, this, I love this bottle. Very simple label, but cool bottle, and it screams Coca-Cola to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Finally, after I would say 3 years, I bought again this wine. Is Hurluberlu. Hurluberlu is the name of the wine. Is produced by Sébastien David. This young winemaker. I mean, younger. I mean, he's approaching to 50 this year. But this wine is fully carbonic macerated Cabernet Franc. So we discussed about a winemaking technique on the first white that was a surly, that aging on the lees. This one is carbonic macerated. That means the fermentation starting in a different way. They are taking the whole bunch of grapes in stainless steel tank, and then they are pumping CO2 to start an intracellular fermentation. So for this reason, you have some notes of bubblegum, slightly cinnamon. So why they are using this one? To tame the tannins and to give a fruitier approach to the wine. But besides the technique, immediately you can smell the real characteristic of a Cabernet Franc. That is pretty aromatic. It's very aromatic.
I like it because on this wine, I get that sense of place, meaning not only the fruit and everything that you get on it, but the soils come out to me on the nose on this one a little bit as well.
Correct. And then it's interesting because if we are making an analysis of this wine, you can see that on the back label, the appellation is generic Vin de France. That means Sébastien David, the winemaker, doesn't respecting the rules to have an appellation of because this guy is originally from Bourgogne, and Bourgogne is located in Touraine. So over there, you have you can't probably doing the carbonic maceration to have the appellation of the terroir. So for this reason is a generic appellation of Vin de France. And this is a perfect glue wine. They are calling in this way, glue, because you are drinking when you are.
It goes down easy. It's a porch pounder, as we call it.
It's porch pounder.
Yeah.
So this one, and we slightly chilled this wine, not like a white wine, but it's 55 Fahrenheit, because it's more enjoyable, especially when in front of you. You have the right type of food, because in this case the home run is to have some smoky type of meat, and I would say why not a Texan barbecue?
Oh, heck
for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I already kind of tasted it and put it on the palate. I mean, this is just a beautiful wine. I mean, just very refreshing and bright and good acidity.
Correct.
Very
Bright.
soft tannins. I mean, to your point of you can just sit back and drink this? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one is different from other red wines that you can find over there. So this one is very cutting edge. It's very different. Is an outlier on this part of France. It's easy. I mean, to me, I'm thinking about a picnic with a group of friends and drinking unpretentious wine, stuff that can transmit kind of a joy of life. This is not a complicated wine. This is not difficult to understand.
No, it's not super complex. It's not, but it's still, it's one you can just sit around and drink and enjoy. But if you do want to pause and take a minute and just kind of enjoy it, it still has some depth to it as well.
Yeah. And also here the terroir, the soil is kind of different from the first wine. Here you have a more white soil. You have is more associated to tuffo, to limestone, just because the composition of the soil is completely different.
And people might hear you talk about the maceration of the wine, the carbon. There are no bubbles. If you're thinking, man, am I going to pour this and it's almost like a sparkling?
Yes.
It's not.
Yes.
It's still how would you? It's just I don't want to call it a
This
still wine.
This wine spent 25 days. 25 days in a fully carbonic maceration, and then the maceration in general after the carbonic is keep going because most of the people they are doing foot trotting, so they are keep fermenting with the feet.
Yeah.
In an open vessel after the carbonic. So it's very unique, it's very cool. But also this producer, besides Urlu Berlu, that is the entry level, is doing Quezaco, that is another type of Cabernet Franc, but is more traditional in style and also more expensive because this one we are talking about a bottle of $33. That is good value. The other one is a little bit higher in price.
I love the fruit on this too. I mean, the raspberry to me is just delicious. With I'm getting just a hint of red cherry behind it.
Cherry, raspberry, strawberry. Is bramble fruit. It's kind of cool.
And I think it's good to know when you're a wine drinker, you know, what types of wines are going to give what kind of fruit, that profile. Because there's times I'm in the mood I want some red fruit. And there's other times, you know, you want dark fruit for whatever reason. And knowing, you know, what wines, you know, Cab Francs and Cabernets and what they're going to give you kind of helps you make a decision, a choice on what you want to drink each evening.
Absolutely. I mean, I like to buy a bottle of wine and then decided what type of food I wanted to associate. So for me, the food is in a secondary position compared to the wine. And for real, this one I'm thinking something smoky and salty.
Yeah.
And then you are thirsty. Yeah, give me more. So I think that this one is a great wine to share with a group of friends.
Okay, that's Cab Franc. That's the star of the Loire Valley. Let's dive into some of the other wines, and let's start with Pinot Noir because I came in last week and I was just looking for a nice Pinot Noir. Sandra and I were going to have a dinner, and I wanted a Pinot with it. And you recommended a Pinot from the Loire Valley, and my wife can tell you, I didn't tell her what it was or where it was from when I opened it and poured it for her. She was just blown away with how good this was.
So yeah, me and Rob, we chose a wine for Sandra, and basically we picked something from Rully. Rully is in a Central Vineyard, is the neighbor of Sancerre, and it's famous to do outstanding Pinot Noir, but I mean, guys, again, the same importer, Kermit Lynch, and this wine is fantastic because it probably is a little bit greener compared to Burgundy. In Burgundy, you have a different profile, more floral, more roses petals. This one is probably a little bit more herbal tones, I would say, but really is doing a great example of Pinot Noir.
And I bring it up because, you know, to the point of Burgundy, it's a little different profile than Burgundy. But when you're somebody who just likes Pinot Noir, and Burgundy, you know, the prices are getting where they are, can get very, very expensive. There's a few, you know, appellations in Burgundy. You can, you know, the Chalonnais, I think, still has some good value there. Yeah. But when you look around the world and you go, where can I find good Pinot Noir at a good value? $29 for the one we're talking about. Correct. I mean, you can't beat that for a Pinot Noir that, I mean, it punches up. I asked my wife, what would you pay for this? And she was like, $70. You know, I'd be happy with that. I told her 29. She goes, did you buy more than one?
Yes, because we needed to be... I think that people that are deciding to drink wines from Loire Valley are savvy drinkers. They want to find the deal. And I think that some wine villages in Loire Valley can offer a great example about these grape varieties.
So we can find some Pinot Noir. We obviously can get all the Cab Franc we want from there. I think Chenin is one of the big ones that you might see. So when you're out at a wine shop, you're not going to see Cab Franc on the label. You have to know that you're in the Loire Valley. And then there's certain words that you'll, to your point earlier.
Keep in mind these appellations if you want to drink great Cabernet Franc. Like, for example, Chenin, Saint Nicolas de Bourgogne is another perfect example. And and then you are happy. But probably Chenin is very good. But also there is Anjou. Anjou is another sub-region. Again, when I started to describe this sub-appellation, Anjou is closer to the western part. Touraine is on the east side, and over there you have Chenin. But this is the area that is famous for amazing Cabernet
At great values.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned Gamay. Are we going to find anything bottled Gamay from? Can you find that, or is that kind of more of a for the sparkling and for blending, or do you find that?
Gamay, yes, we have a Gamay.
Do you really?
We have a bottle of it's $26. Is a great producer over there. Is in my opinion, compared to the Beaujolais area, is a different type of wine. Is more similar to Cabernet Franc, so you have more the purple fruit, you have more the tobacco, you have more minerality on the Beaujolais you can find in Loire Valley. Instead, in Beaujolais, it's important to know if the wine is coming from a specific cru appellation, because in Beaujolais you have 10 different crus, and every village in Beaujolais has a specific characteristic. But and also Beaujolais is famous for to do like the first time the carbonic maceration.
Oh, okay.
So also Marcel Lapierre is pretty famous to do glue wines.
When you said Beaujolais and famous, I thought you were going to say Beaujolais Nouveau.
Beaujolais, no. Beaujolais Nouveau is
no, thank you.
Something popular in the 70s, in the 80s, super gummy bear driven.
Well, Americans, I think, who Thanksgiving, you see that just pop up.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think that the culinary experience of American consumers, American chefs, improved a lot because right now I can see amazing type of turkey that they are deep frying, so it's not dry like in the 70s. So when the turkey was so dry, you needed something like almost a juice.
Yeah, it was almost like grape juice.
And Beaujolais Nouveau was that type of wine.
Yeah. Okay, Loire Valley, any other reds that we need to talk about before we start to close out this episode?
We
covered them all?
I think that you can find also some Cabernet Sauvignon over there. They are using to do rosé. But beside that, I have another producer, and then we are displaying on the shop Grolot. Grolot, Grolleau, and is another grape variety that is very easy drinking, super light in color.
Red fruit again?
Red fruit, brimming red fruit, but in this case almost looks like a dark rosé. So, but that one is a supporting partner, I think, on the wine scene of Loire Valley, because the Loire Valley mostly you have the Pinot, the Pinot Noir, the Cabernet Franc, and then for the white Chenin Blanc and Sauvignon Blanc and the Muscadet.
Yeah,
Melon B.
Well, I would say if you haven't been drinking and exploring the Loire Valley, you absolutely need to go, check these out. If you're in the Houston area, come by Santo. You have a great selection from the Loire Valley over a diverse selection of wines that you can go through and experience and enjoy.
Absolutely, it's our passion. We want to offer something that is really niche boutique. We can't compete with the big names, so So people are coming here because are tired to drink the same type of wine.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well, Ricardo, thanks so much for coming on today and doing the episode, having a conversation about the Loire Valley.
thank you very much, Rob. Thanks for the invitation, and you are a great host.
And I look forward to having you on again. We'll talk some more wines from around the world.
Absolutely. It will be my pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.